if you watched the video for number 3, you heard me talking about the main strategy for the writing section, predict the question. We're going to use it here as well. Completely different kind of question, but just as important that we know what we're dealing with here. So predicting the question means knowing whether the question falls into one of the 3 categories that I set for my for writing questions. This is a little different from what the College Board says, but my books use these 3 categories instead of just the 2 that the College Board uses. And I think that it's more helpful to break it apart like this. Now, is it ideas, question, or grammar, or style? So ideas, grammar, style. Well, we know it's not ideas because it doesn't have a literal question, and that's usually the main marker. There's only one exception, and that's questions that are about transitions, like words like however, for example. This is clearly not that, so it's not ideas. Now, it does look like a grammar or style question because there's no actual question. It's just 4 choices. And a lot of people are going to think that this is a style question because there's no real rule that is obviously being tested in these choices. There's no punctuation in the choices. There's no pronouns, singulars and plurals, things like that, the things that we do see repeated on the SAT. But it's not a style question either. And that matters because if we think it's style, then we're going to just use our instincts and listen for the best answer choice. That might get you the right answer, but there is actually a grammar rule here that proves our answer correct. And the reason I know that it's a grammar question is that it is about punctuation. The choices don't have punctuation, but look, right before the underlined portion is a comma. That tells me to at least consider punctuation and what punctuation means, which is sentence structure. How is this sentence being built? Well, the first part is a complete sentence. The plastic hardens quickly. That's a sentence. I could just end that right there with a period, right? Well, let's read the next part. It allows the printer to build the layers of the final model. That also sounds like a complete sentence. And so that's the problem, is we're using 2 sentences, or we're joining 2 sentences with only a comma. This, as written, is a run-on sentence. We can't use only a comma to join 2 sentences. We need a little extra. We maybe need a comma and a conjunction, or maybe a semicolon. In this case, we don't have those options. The punctuation is not going to change. But we do have a very common fix, which is the word which. Okay? Which has a very special power in English. It lets us turn a sentence into a clause. So this sentence now, this red, becomes kind of like an extra clause. And with the which, now it doesn't stand alone, right? So let me read it with the which. Which allows the printer to build the layers of the final model. Basically the same words, but the which means that something else had to happen first, right? This needs to be attached to something. That's just how the word which works. And so that little change solves the grammar issue. And the reason that, people get this wrong is that, maybe which does sound pretty good, but I don't think these other choices sound that bad, especially because you write this way in your essays a lot. Well, let me just read choice B for a sec. The plastic hardens quickly. This allows the printer to build the layers of the final model. Sounds pretty good. And that's because it sounds just like 2 sentences, which is totally fine when you speak. But as soon as you write sentences down, we need to be aware of how they're connected with punctuation. And a comma is not enough in that case. So a period would be fine, but it needs something, to kind of join them together. And this word which is a very common fix for run-on sentences. So it's very likely that your own SAT includes a set of choices that look identical to these. So just remember this rule. It's an important one.